Welcome back, TCSTV viewers. Chris Nichols here from the CameraStore, coming to you from East Village because we're going to hang out here, take some shots, and enjoy the science event in YYC, Beakerhead. It should be a lot of fun. Now, we're out here tonight with two very exciting lenses. We've got the Sigma 24-70 Art and the brand new Tamron G2 24-70 VC. These are both pro lenses aimed at knocking down Nikon and Canon a peg and maybe taking over that market. Now, keep in mind, when we do lens reviews here at the CameraStore TV, we're not really trying to do highly technical, DxO, Mark, MTF chart kind of stuff. We frankly don't have the time or the equipment to do that. But I do want to, as a photographer, just get a feel for these lenses, how they focus, what kind of sharpness we're getting, what kind of chromatic aberration, just an overall impression of the lens to help you folks maybe pick one that might work best for you. So join me tonight. Let's take these two lenses out, see what we get. All right, now we've got Beakerhead there just off to the left. There's people, having a good time. There's some music playing over there. But before I get in there and take pictures, I just kind of want to talk about the overall feel of these two lenses. Now, both the Sigma and the Tamron, both 24-70 2.8 lenses, and because of that, they're both kind of chunky, hefty lenses, 82mm filter threads on the front. Very, very similar, length on these lenses, and honestly, diameter as well. The Nikon 24-70 VR is way longer. It's a much bigger lens to carry around, so that's a nice advantage either way here. Now, that being said, the Tamron is a little bit lighter than the Sigma. This is about 825 grams, and this is going to push 990, and that's definitely enough that you feel a difference there. Zoom rings, they actually go in different directions. The Tamron with a wide angle on the right side and the Sigma with wide angle on the left side. So whether you're a Nikon or Canon user, that's either going to be great or it's going to piss you off depending on which lens you get. Focus throw is basically identical on both. You got nice manual focus. The Sigma, I should point out, does have their manual focus override right here as a selector switch. And then you've got OS on and off. And the Tamron, very similarly, VC on and off, and actually has a locking mechanism to avoid lens creep at the 24mm range. Now, on top of that, both of these lenses are weather sealed. The Sigma, though, basically just has a rubber seal around the back. It doesn't really have anything in the zoom mechanism. The new Tamron, and this is the G2 we're looking at, is much better weather sealed all the way through the housing. So that is an advantage there, although I don't plan on getting them wet tonight. Now, you all know how much I hate neck straps, so now I'm wearing two, of course, go figure, but I shouldn't complain. The nice thing about working at the CameraStore and being a badass YouTuber camera reviewer is I do have access to twin D850s, so I don't have to change lenses. I just have to deal with two stupid straps around my neck. All right, so I've just taken a close shot here with the Tamron, and now I'm going to use the Sigma here. When it comes to macro capability, both of these lenses are kind of advertising the same kind of range, kind of a 1 to 5 life-size reproduction. I mean, not bad. I would say the Sigma just a touch closer here than the Tamron. They're saying 0.37 meters versus 0.38 meters, but a little bit closer with the Sigma, but very similar. Just as a side note, the Nikon does blow these away. I mean, that lens gets almost 1 to 3, and I've always loved that lens for close-up. It beat out everything else when we did our overall competition on those lenses as well. But still, you can get some decent close-ups with this lens, easy to focus, seems nice and quick. I honestly am having a really hard time getting any chromatic aberration even wide open. Telephoto range, wide angle range, it just seems to be nice and clean and consistent on both lenses. So honestly, it's not going to bug you. It's not an issue at all. Just as a side point too, I am getting very similar exposure out of the two lenses, but I have to say the Sigma does give me a slight magenta tone. The Tamron looks a little bit cleaner. Now, Tamron and Sigma, these third-party manufacturers, started off their business by being low-cost alternatives, and it's only in recent history that both companies have actually made a really concerted effort to make lenses that absolutely compete against Canon and Nikon. But price point's still an issue, and especially when we're talking about these lenses, one of the main reasons to get them is to save a few bucks, right? So the Tamron lens here, you're looking at about $1,700 Canadian roughly, and the Sigma is going to push you about $1,900. Okay, now that is a significant difference between the Tamron and the Sigma, but consider that Nikon and Canon glasses are going to push you almost to $3,000. And I mean, Sony G Master is a very, very similar story. There's substantial savings to be had here, and that's why you want to take a really hard look at a lens like this. Now, of course, optical performance has to keep up. We don't want to sacrifice too much for that, price savings. I don't think we're going to, but we're going to look at that next. Okay, so don't tell Gary that I just sat down on the same bench that his time-lapse rig is shooting on. But one thing that we did want to do here with the Petri dish in the background is just do a test on corner sharpness. Now, this is something where getting the aftermarket lens, saving a little bit of money is going to hurt you a little bit. Now, at 2.8, that's about the only place you're really going to start to see these problems. By f5.6, corner sharpness is excellent on both the Tamron and Sigma. But I have tested this 24 millimeters at 50 millimeters, and as you look at the examples here, what you're going to see is that at 24 millimeters on the Sigma, we're getting a little bit of softness, less so on the Tamron. So I'd actually say the Tamron's doing a little bit better with the corner sharpness area there. Even at 50 though, you're going to see a little bit, and I would say the Nikon or Canon 24-70 is going to hold up a little bit more even at 2.8. In fact, that's really where they're pushing a lot of the technology, getting that better corner sharpness even wide open. Still, it's very acceptable. There's so many shots where you're not even going to notice it. It's a great way to go. Oh, fancy seeing you here, Ron.
Oh, hey.
Nice D850, singular.
That's all I need.
Aw, you son of a... All right, so for my puddle shot of the night, what I'm going to use is the tissue paper and, old coffee cups and tampons, whatever else we're going to find in here as my foreground element to then showcase the three-dimensionality of this passionate puddle landscape. Or some like that. All right, so I found a nice setup here just to test the bokeh on both of these lenses, and just a few observations that I want to note. First off, I'm finding the Sigma lens is not just focusing fast on the Tamron, but also a little bit more accurately in low light, but it's minor, okay? Both are vastly improved. Now, I've shot both of these shots at both 70 millimeters and at 35. Now, the Sigma is doing beautiful, great bokeh, very, very soft circles. Even at 35 and 70, I'm very happy with the autofocus performance. Now, what I am finding with the Tamron, the original version that we tested a while ago, that was brutal, major onion rings, and the new G2 version is much improved. But if you look closely at 70, you're still gonna see a slight onion ring around the outside of the circles. And if you look at 35, we start to pick up a polygonal shape. So overall, I'm gonna give the win to the Sigma.
Well, I seem to have lost Chris in the crowd, so I'm going to hang out at the Lost Child area here. Hope that works.
Now, both cameras do seem to have very good image stabilizers built into them, so I did a test here, again, just handheld, shooting at 70 millimeters, and I'm finding the Sigma was pretty good down to about 1/8, and the Tamron I couldn't quite get down there, maybe 1/10, 1/15, and I was getting similar sharpness. Either way, very effective results. They are good stabilizers. All right, so overall tonight I've actually had a really good time with both lenses, and I would say that both the Sigma and the Tamron are now perfectly capable professional 24-70s with very few compromises and actually a lot of surprises. Just to kind of, in summary, conclude with some of the small details, the Sigma does have slightly better stabilization than the Tamron. The focusing is a little bit quicker, and that is an important thing to have. But Tamron's improved things in a big way over the old version. I like the build quality. It's better weather sealed than the Sigma, And I think image quality overall is a little bit better too, especially wide open in the corners. The Sigma has some issues with that, especially at the wide angle range. Overall, the only real reason I could think to go Nikon or Canon would be to get slightly sharper corners wide open. But both the Tamron and the Sigma are otherwise going to basically eliminate chromatic aberration and distortion, give you very good focusing, quiet speed, nice stabilization, and decent build quality. Between the two, I think I would still go the Tamron, and I think it's just going to be the fact that it's 10% less money, has better image quality, and overall just feels very rugged and very solid. You know, the Sigma Art series has been synonymous with amazing lenses. In the store, when we're selling these things, saying art is enough to basically guarantee the customer is going to get a great lens. With the 24-70 here, I think this is a very interesting option, but unlike their primes, it's not going to dominate the market. So check out the Tamron 24-70, check out the primes while you're at it. Someone needs to buy those, and they're also similarly excellent. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed our night out here in the dark at Beakerhead. Don't forget, check out our Instagram feed, see some photos from tonight, tweet to us, comment, tell us what you think about this. But in conclusion, I just think that the third-party manufacturer is doing a great job, and you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't at least have a look and try them out. Thanks so much. Again, we're going to be coming to you soon with more gear reviews next week.